Hi everybody. This video is going to be about how to approach this course in general and a little bit about the format of the course. So most of you are probably aware of the types of courses and the setup for courses, but I would encourage you to go to the syllabus section here and also to just look at the course. Remember that the Writing Center and Library is easily accessible here in the left banner, and that the course guide and syllabus and other resources can be found in the course information. So a 5-week course. Each week of this course, you will have a written assignment. I think most of them are around 2 pages, so they're more like journals, and one discussion, and readings to do. So this is historical context and literature. And what we'll be doing in this class is examining not only how the context of our society influences the literary productions of the society, but also how literary productions, literature, writings, can influence and shape culture. So a prime example of a writing that has influenced and shaped Western culture is the Bible. So the Bible has had an extreme influence on what we believe about our laws, what we believe about appropriate behavior, what we believe about other people, and not only in our culture, but it has influenced many cultures, even outside of the West. And so those literary productions create a context for us to live in. Imagine if the Bible didn't exist. Imagine if there were no Catholic churches. Imagine if there were no Protestant churches. Imagine if no one knew anything about Jesus or the 10 Commandments or anything like that. Our society would be extremely different from the way it is now, right? But so, for example, in week 1, we are going to be examining basically Uncle Tom's Cabin and the period from basically the initial inception of the United States up through the slave period. And really, we won't even make it that far all the way through it. But let me just take you through this week 1. So I am your instructor. My name is Justin. But this is John. John is the Liberal Arts Program Chair, and John has designed this course. So this week you'll have to post your introduction, engage in one discussion, and then there's an assignment on Uncle Tom's Cabin. But this, again, is more about the structure of the course. So each week has an introductory video from John, so make sure that you take a look at that. Also, look at the learning outcomes. So in week 1, for example, we'll identify the ways that literary texts both reflect and influence their historical context and apply this knowledge to at least one specific literary text. Now, the way that this is set up is that you can just go through all of this content and then go to next, and it will take you to the next activity that you should do, or in this case, required resources. So the readings for the week are chapters 1 and 2. An article, this is required reading, articulating Uncle Tom's Cabin, which will be the foundation for the week 1 assignment. And then you will also be asked to read the first 11 chapters of Uncle Tom's Cabin. It's about 120 pages. And I will send you links to that where you can find those resources in digital format. And then there are recommended resources. So these are, if you want to enhance your understanding of these issues, you can engage with the recommended resources. I'll also be including my own resources in the announcements. So there's an introductory post in week 1. And again, you can just click next and it'll take you to the discussion. And then you can click next and then it'll take you to week 1's assignment. So if you go back to the home page, I'm going to explain these things in more detail in a later video. Right now, I just want to focus on the course structure. You can also, every time, you can just go home and then you can access the different things that you need here. And then each week, it's pretty much the same. Make sure that you take a look at the final research paper and you start thinking about that paper right now. Our courses are a short 5 weeks. So it would be good to start working on that as quickly as possible. So again, my name's Justin. I look forward to working with you in this class. And remember to continually think about how it is that literary works shape the worldview and the world that we have and our view of the way that things ought to be or the way that they are. And then also we're going to think about how our societies themselves shape the context in which somebody can write literature about something. So for example, many of us in our society probably wouldn't be very good at writing a book about what it's like to live in communism or in a communist country. And that's because we don't live in a communist country. We live in a democratic one. And so our political structure shapes the context in which we create these literary works. And so, you know, one thing that all good readers do is that they write what they know about or what they've experienced. And so the context of society also shapes what we can actually write about. Very few of us could probably write about Islam very well in our society in general and for the most part. And yet you see people all the time saying like, well, in Islam, they believe this, right? And the person has never read any of the Quran or never experienced what it's like to be in a society that's guided around Islam or anything like that. And yet they're spouting off about what Muslims believe and things like that. So anyway, that's just a little framework for how we're going to be approaching the class, what's the class about, and then also how to navigate the course. So again, I look forward to working with you, and let's have a great class.